sir. Get that thing ready, folks. We finna go to New Orleans, bro. Everybody had a smooth week, folks. Oh, let me turn my mic around, G. Everybody had a smooth week, bro. A good day. Get that thing ready, folks. Hit the like button, subscribe button. Do that before you get up out of here. Don't forget. You might forget, folks, that. You know what I'm saying? That Zop might have you
It broad daylight, maybe
We
playing
going to
two
New
hand
Orleans,
touch football. And a guy just walk up to another guy and just shoot him
When gangsters
20, 30 times. And you
take each
stuck
other
as
out
a child,
for
you
no
can't move
reason.
because you really don't know what to do.
Well, for the dumbest
So,
reasons.
you just stuck right there. And over time, it becomes normal.
New Orleans is supposed to be the city of jazz and Mardi Gras, not a murder capital where gangs kill the wrong people over Instagram beefs. But unless you've been living under a rock for like 3 decades, this isn't the case. New Orleans led the nation in homicides in 2022, but somehow, someway, somewhere, they've only been declining in homicides since.
Yeah, they was up
Today
there.
we're
What
talking
Katrina
about how
hit,
New
folks?
Orleans gang
I
violence
forgot
got
what year
so
that was.
reckless that people die over being spotted at the wrong place, and how gangs
I know
there
it was
follow
before that.
exactly one rule: kill on sight, even if you're not sure you're even shooting the right person. Let me start with one of the most senseless killings that shows exactly how stupid this has gotten. In April of 2013, Joseph Massenberg, an 18-year-old AmeriCorps volunteer, had just moved to New Orleans to install energy-efficient light bulbs in homes through Greenlight New Orleans. He was on his cell phone talking to a friend from Chicago when a white Lexus SUV pulled up
That's
behind
crazy,
him on
right?
Eagle and Birch Streets. Multiple people in the car opened fire, striking Massenberg several times before speeding off. The kicker, Massenberg had absolutely nothing to do with any gang. He got killed because of a beef between the Hot Glocks gang and the Mid-City Killers. Glenn Emerson, a member of the Mid-City Killers, thought Massenberg was a Hot Glocks member just because he was standing on their corner. Wrong place, wrong time, and you're dead. Emerson got arrested a month later hiding in an apartment complex, trying to climb out a back window. Police found a 9mm handgun and a .32 caliber revolver. The same 9mm rounds were found at another crime scene. The murder of Isaac Big Ike Stern. Speaking of Big Ike, here's
Folks
another
was trying
example
to
of how
do
these
his
gangs
job,
kill the
man.
wrong people. On February 15th, 2012, Isaac Stern was found shot to death outside his house near the fairgrounds. 3 masked men approached him and opened fire. The murder was carried out by the Mid-City Killers, but they weren't after Big Ike. They wanted his son, 23-year-old Isaac Ike
Folks like a
Jones.
young Gucci in the
Jones had
middle.
killed Jeremy J. Curry, who was a Mid-City Killers associate. So instead of going after Jones directly, they killed his father while he was taking out the trash. By trying to punish Jones, all they did was kill an innocent man and make themselves look cowardly. Isaac's son, 23-year-old Ike, went on a revenge spree afterwards. 5 days after his father's murder, he found one of the
Crazy,
suspects in the
folks.
crime, Orlando Lanny Rickman, and shot him several times. Rickman survived, and Ike made bail on March 1st. On April 23rd, he found Rickman again on a porch in Mid-City and murdered him and his friend Desmond Bell. The gunfire also injured an 8-year-old playing tag with friends nearby. Ike Jones was later charged with the murder of Jeremy J. Curry, which happened in 2012 and done as revenge for another shooting, and charged with almost killing his uncle over custody of his grandmother's home. He later got 3 decades in jail.
Going crazy, folks.
Back on July 26, 2003, surveillance video captured one of the most brutal attacks in New Orleans gang history. 2 men were sitting at a car wash when 6 men in a truck pulled up and opened fire with an AK-47, a .45 caliber pistol, and a 9mm semi-automatic. The 2 victims survived their wounds, but here's the thing. They weren't even the intended targets. Less than 24 hours earlier, LaDevin Pearson had been killed in a drive-by shooting. One of the men who watched Pearson die was Elton Hooks. Hooks and his boys wanted revenge, so they shot up the car wash. Problem was, they got some random people instead of Pearson's killer. Renata Magnolia Shorty Lowe, a
They went out
popular
there
New
at
Orleans
an angle.
bounce rapper signed to Cash Money Records, was murdered alongside Jerome Man Hampton in December of 2010. The kicker of her death was actually twofold. Lowe wasn't an intended target, and Hampton hadn't actually done anything physical. He just made a threat. Hampton, a member of the Front of Town Killers,
Yeah,
had threatened to shoot a
can't make the threats,
3NG
fam.
gang member. In response, 3NG sent out 5 armed killers, followed Hampton to Magnolia Shorty's apartment complex, and blocked them in. The 5 gangsters shot both of them to death. Over 50 whole-ass shots for a single threat. Either Hampton was the worst menace known to man, or more likely, the rival.
All right, the ad was up. Depending on who you is and who you talking to, folks, you can't be sending dry threats in the hood, folks. That's you can't do that. You can't do that, bro.
Overreacted severely. Even if you want to argue they didn't, most of them received a life sentence for the double homicide. A famous rapper was dead, her boyfriend was murdered, and 5 men got life charges all over someone else's beef. There's more to 3NG. On December 18, 2011, the 3NG gang was hunting for a rival gang member named Emmett Allen in the B.W. Cooper housing development, aka Calliope Projects, in Central City. 2 vehicles followed Allen through the complex, and they shot him multiple times, leaving him critically wounded and paralyzed for life. But a stray bullet hit 1-year-old Kira Holmes, who was playing with other children in the nearby courtyard. She was days away from her 2nd birthday, but died at the scene. Here's where it gets even crazier. Less than 24 hours later, 3NG gang members Washington Big Wash McCaskill and Kendall Yeezy Livingston murdered Charles Buck Anderson because Anderson's truck had been used in the Kira Holmes shooting, and the gang was worried he would snitch to get a lighter sentence. So they shot him 6 times with 2 different guns to keep him quiet about the murder of a baby. But then it just gets even wilder. Police arrested the wrong people twice before finally charging the right gang members 7 years later in 2018. First, they arrested Narky Hunter because his ex lied about him being at the shooting to get at him. Hunter lucked out though because he had an alibi on camera. Then they arrested Tyrone T-Bone Knockham and Tarius T-Red Oni, members of 3NG who, as it would later turn out, had killed Magnolia Shorty. However, police eventually caught the actual killers. The king of all over-exaggerated gang beefs, however, happened on May 12, 2013 at a Mother's Day parade. Members of the FND gang were in a beef with the PCB gang, both from the 7th Ward. An FND member, Stanley Scott, the brother of his gang leader Travis Scott, got shot but lived. To retaliate, Akeen Scott and Sean Scott went to this big local Mother's Day parade and tried killing a member of D2, a gang offshoot of PCB. Instead of killing 1 man as retaliation for a non-fatal shooting, they sprayed a crowd of 20 people. 19 of them got shot while 1 of them was trampled in the fire. They all lived, including the target. One woman who got shot was a journalist named Deborah Cotton, who, despite surviving, lived in pain for the next 4 years and died from complications due to a fateful brain death. Akeen got life, Travis got life, and Sean and Stanley got 40 years each.
Hey, them niggas popped some pills or something for that, bro. They had to, bro.
There are
they
some
had
crazy,
to,
unnecessary gang beefs in the city.
They had to be
on January 31st, 2017. Brian Love, a NOLA Bird gang member, was attending a high school basketball game. She spotted Winston Baby Ghost Jackson, a ghost gang leader, in the crowd. So she called up Taryn Funky Williams from Bird Gang and told him Jackson was there. Williams, Tyrone Six Bovia, and Javonta Dutt Dolman drove across the river to Edna Carr School. When Jackson left the gym and sat in his car, the Bird Gang members rolled up with 2 rifles and a handgun and unloaded a torrent of bullets. These fools got hundreds of people locked down inside the gym for hours. It didn't even matter at the end because all 3 shooters got convicted on RICO charges and are facing mandatory life sentences. In mid-2019, Gang Against the Ghost Gang and Forever My Brother, or FMB. In mid-2019, members of the Forever My Brother gang tried shooting at a T-Block member, but missed and killed a Shih Tzu named Yasmin. Cornell Sparkman Jr., already off the porch before 18, mocked the shit out of them online for killing the dog, then went out the next day and killed an FMB. That slaying was done because his victim had been mocking him online. Again, another death over social media bullcrap. 11 days later, Sparkman jacked a Toyota Tundra and went on Insta Live speeding around town with T-Block members holding illegal guns in the stolen car. A week later, they jacked a Maserati in Girt Town, did the same shit, and got arrested. Before Sparkman's arrest, he'd shot himself in the foot while trying to get a gun out of his pocket and now faced 50 years in prison. While in prison, this goofy got knocked out cold and got his undies stolen by a rival who, I guess, needed a change of clothes. This Gen Z shit is actually wild. But there's also non-gang related stories that'll make you even angrier. In December of 2015, at the Hidden Lakes Apartments in New Orleans East, Vernon Lewis and Daniel Millen parked their motorcycles as they came to visit a friend. They'd parked near the door of Ahmed Rainey, who got into an argument and straight up just gunned both men, who were over a decade younger than him, to death. If it makes it worse, they were both unarmed. On May 25th, 2019, longtime friends Maurice Leach and Michael Brown got into a fight at the Pair of Dice Lounge at around 4 a.m. The two got into a drunk and coke-fueled fight when Leach randomly went for his pistol, reached over a random woman, and shot Brown right in the face until he died. To this day, no one knows what the fight was over, but it couldn't have been worth a 40-year manslaughter sentence. Then there's the mask incident. In February 2021, John Shallerhorn went to a George Washington Carver High School basketball game during COVID. The school had a mask mandate. Shallerhorn wasn't wearing one, so a staffer tried to stop him from entering. Shallerhorn punched the staffer. Tulane University police officer Martinus Mitchum, who was working security, intervened and escorted Shallerhorn out. But Shallerhorn had already robbed someone in the parking lot at gunpoint. When Mitchum escorted him out, Shallerhorn pulled out a gun and shot Mitchum twice in the chest. Mitchum, a dedicated officer who mentored high school basketball players and helped countless students, died that night. Shallerhorn got life plus 20 years. That's just some of New Orleans' absurd and senseless deaths, few of thousands over the years. It makes you wonder whether a city like NOLA, despite having a dropping homicide rate, will ever truly be considered a safe city, given the amount of poverty and, inversely, the overwhelming size of the city's entertainment industry. Crime-ridden poverty and constantly busy nightclubs and strip joints tends to be a pretty negative mix. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. I'll see you.
Hey, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe button. Don't forget, bro. I'm reminding you. Hit it before you get out of here. Appreciate you made it to the end of the video to even hear me say that. But look, you already know what's going on with me, bro. I'm gone.
Cushy, I love it. Hey, cushy, I love to use it. It's therapeutic, flow sick. Be throwing up. It's therapeutic, Glock 6 with extra clip. I'm very suited, money getting.